Hey, it's Game Hydro. We're going to go over how to beat level 24 in Galaxy Defense. Now, this level is a little different than some levels. First, let's take a look at what enemies you will be facing. It's a question mark by normal stage 24. So for bosses, you got the Elite Alien Golem. Obviously, by this point, you know that golem splits into multiples when you kill it, and you have to get rid of all of them. This one takes 50% less energy damage. So energy, of course, is the beam and the laser. Armored Insect takes 50% less electric damage. So strong against the Thunderbolt and strong against the Tesla Coil. And then for regular enemies, you got the Meteorite. Doesn't take, it's not strong or weak against anything. You got the Spike Shell Beetle, which takes 50% more physical and fire damage. And you got the Biotic, which restores hit points to nearby enemies upon death and takes 50% more fire damage and force field damage. So, theoretically, you should be using the fire attacks in this game. However, this level's a bit different than a lot of others because the enemies come really fast in this one, and the fire attacks just don't aim specifically enough. They're next to useless in this level, so we're going to go in a different direction. All right, so this is the loadout we have running, level 22, 21, and 23 for all the pieces of equipment. We got a tier 1 legendary, a tier 2 epic, and the rest of it is tier 3 fine and rare equipments for a total damage of 758. The chips, I'll just show you these. You can pause the video if you want to. Most of them are general chips that don't necessarily affect one specific element. They either give immunity, or not immunity, but defense boost to the fortress or attack boost against certain enemies. And then over in the fortress area, we are at level 25 with the hovering mines and the hovering mine burning area enhancements. So that's what we are running. And then over in the skills area, pretty much everything is leveled up to either level 6 or level 7. The three exceptions are the fire wheel drone, which is level 8, and the railgun, which is level 24, and the level 4, and then the gravity vortex gun, which is level 3. So that is the loadout that we are running with. I have never spent any money on this game. Lots of grinding has gone into this. But anyways, yeah, let's go into it and let's show you how to beat level 24. All right, time to send it. So on this stage, I like to use boss lock sometimes and leave it off most of the time. Primarily, I like to use boss lock when the golem shows up because it shows up so early in the level, and with all the meteorites falling, it becomes almost impossible to target without. And your blaster just is not enough to deal with it. All right. I'm using the beam. Despite the golem being strong against energy attacks, it's still probably the best one out there. The hive, excellent too. It keeps villains from getting too close to your base. So boss lock, we just turned it on. I'm going to try to deal with the little meteorites for a little bit myself. Pulse wave, excellent power up. We're going with pulse wave. So let's try to get the golem out of there ASAP. Damage increase. Tesla coil, yes. We want the Tesla coil. Despite the other boss being weak against electric, boss lock off. the Tesla coil is so ridiculously strong that it almost makes it not matter. More wasps. And we get the electro chain power up. Now, as always, my main goal here with the Tesla coil is to get, I don't remember the name of it, I always forget, but it's that one chain power up. That causes it to do a ton of splash damage. Trap Matrix is also good, we're using that. We're also going to go for beam power-ups, especially longevity power-ups, but also damage power-ups. The final thing, quite honestly, the final thing doesn't really matter that much. I'm going Fire Wheel, but I've also been able to beat it with Disruption Drone and with the Gravity Vortex gun. I'm just going Fire Wheel because you got multiple enemies that are strong against. Electric Chain Surge. That is what we need. You got multiple enemies that are weak against fire. And it'll spin around the top and soften up the crowds of enemies so that the wasps and the beam will be able to take care of them. We'll be able to take care of them faster. All right, what do we want? Fire Wheel Drone leaves a flame trail. Yeah, let's go with that. That provides good splash damage. It's not a lot of splash damage, but it's consistent, and it weakens up a large number of enemies. All right, Electro Acceleration, cooldown speed lower. Can't argue with that. Now, the blaster, it doesn't really matter what happens with the blaster. Don't put too much emphasis on blaster upgrades over upgrading other stuff. We're not going to turn on Boss Lock for the Armored Insect just yet. Tesla coil damage up, yes. All right, now Boss Lock. That'll enable us to soften it up nicely while it's still up top. Fire Wheel Drone damage, size. Let's go size. Now that blood-sucking thing, or whatever, likes to come down to the base. There we go, bullets boost. Likes to come down to the base and suck on it. So we didn't even let it reach the base. That is actually a huge success. Now, time to smack everything else around. And we have a chip that actually lets us heal every time we level up. Let's see if we can do a perfect clear. It may actually still be possible. Bullet Explosion. The Bullet Explosion is kind of underrated. It allows the bullets to do splash damage, which is kind of nice. But now we're at level 17. Beam cooldown speed, yes. Alright, looks like perfect clear might be out of the question here. Unless I get enough healing to counteract all this nonsense. Mini drones. Nope, more wasps. So as you can see, despite the elemental weaknesses, the Tesla coil has been able to provide a killer boost for us because the mobs in this level tend to be a little bit gnarlier and deadlier and nastier compared to the bosses. But the bosses are still nasty enough that you need to take them seriously. Alright. We got everybody backed up enough to where they should kind of be less of a problem. Hive mutation, Wasp 2. Yeah. The Wasp 2s are a significant damage upgrade over the Wasp 1. That's why we like to go with that. But that that charge, whatever attack from the Tesla coil is such a smart bomb that it's almost kind of like a cheat code compared to some of the other attacks you might do. All right, so we finished with 48% remaining hit point. That is pretty good. Not quite to the level of, perfect clear, but it is what it is. After some more upgrades, we'll try chasing after that perfect clear. Let's see. So, looking at the list of what did certain amounts of damage here, obviously the Tesla coil did the most damage by far. Surprisingly, the Firewheel drone did the second most damage, with the Flame Trail contributing a significant amount. You can tap it to see the breakdown. The Wasp's third place, the Wasp 1, Pulse Wave, and Wasp 2. And then fourth place, surprisingly, because I felt like it was pretty useful, was the Beam. But I guess that just goes to speak to how valuable every single one of those skills was, because the Beam being in fourth place wasn't entirely useless. All right, this is Game Hydro. Thank you for watching Stage 24 breakdown. Please like and subscribe and check out our other Galaxy Defense videos.